YouTube. Not right now, but I'll probably watch the recap here in a second. Damn, I look tired. I am tired. What's up? How are y'all doing? Yeah, what a day is right. What a day is right. I crashed out a little bit. Did you really? Ugh. Ooh, not bad, man. Yeah, that gave you extra bear. Nice job, man. Yeah, we did hustle. Love you, baby. All right. Yeah. All righty. So first things first, real quick, if you're on TikTok, what the hell? I'm just gonna scroll through all of these. Yeah, so today we saw a pretty sizable pullback here. Uh Out off of that same 24-hour candle that we were talking about on the Qs, and of course that rejection with the lower time frame, 1 2 3, a little bit of chop. It popped up, tried to go and reach those highs. And if you are looking at your chart here on the 24-hour, this is to recap what I'm saying here this morning and this week, right? We've been talking about this one candle that needed to be reclaimed. And if it wasn't able to be reclaimed, then we would be looking at a potential pullback, right? Because if you don't have enough volume to get up, then you're more than likely going to get down. This did bring us down to my 603.71 level that we had over here to our left. It retested the 601s, which we had on the lower time frame. And right now, it looks like it is setting up for a retest. So those of you guys who are still short, at least right now, right? We don't have a candle close. Price is trying to push up and out of 604.71. So if you have any calls or for tomorrow, right? Some of the overhead targets here you're trying to stay under is 605.67. We also have a pretty clear retest level if that is reclaimed. So, sorry, at 607.50. I just put 10K in my account. I am joining the Discord. I need a win in this market for sure. Potterbox Workshop first, brother. Got to get you up to speed. Or then when the moments when you need the information the most, when you need to know how to navigate, You're not going to know what to do, and emotion takes over. All right. Oh, boy, my eyes. All right. Now, of course, this is subject to change. If you are watching the cues, still, box right here, that wick is really the only thing that we have on that lower time frame that's kind of pushed us back. So above that, those retests, like I said, may occur. Now going forward, right, what does this mean for the market? And can we still dump, or is there any sense of bullishness? Now, of course, that green candle being the floor that, or that green candle right here at 617 being the floor needing to be reclaimed. And then obviously at that point in time, we were tracking that 610 level. And that's how we tracked that range and stayed out of it. But of course, that was lost today. And now we're back down at that 603, which is, again, has only served as a level a couple of times. But what I think is most important is this, again, has been that level. Like, you will dump and you will retest it and then you will pull back. And so now that we're back under it, right, it's got me kind of looking sideways at a potential continuation move to the downside. Now, I do think that it's something that's going to be retesting as it goes. It's, pulling the volume off of those levels, and we're seeing that right now as we speak. So it's still, I think it's in play, and it's something that if you're trying to get into, you do have to be strategic about that, like any other play that you would take. That's weird. So anyway, solid move to the downside. IWM, right? We talked about this one. I actually made a funny video about IWM last night. If you check it out on my TikTok, little, never mind. But anyway, IWM having that lower high and channel here ended up pulling back up into this range to our left. Multiple rejections overhead, higher time frame structure this morning was failed to reclaim. And a lot of the times when you are trying to be short, it's those gap ups, those weak gap ups to nothing that really do the trick. But of course, not only that, as we discussed before we took this trade, or before we talked about IWM moving to the downside, we talked about all that juicy empty space, and we spoke that shit into existence. And right now, as we speak, IWM is trying once again to get up and out of its, and I'm trying to again not go against the grain here. But if you are an IWM with any sort of expiration beyond tomorrow, well, actually tomorrow probably as well, you do have to be aware that there is potential retest up to 262.18. So something to look for as we move into the end of the day. If you're on TikTok, please tap your screen. Get through this as quickly as possible. SPY, which is not really of interest to me too much, did have a really nice waterfall. It's just not of interest to me because of it's just lack of setup for me. It's not obviously missing empty space, and it definitely just kind of barely lost its floor, major floor. So, not as clear. But that being said, 686.66 is that must or likely retest level, and we're seeing that potential bounce and hold off of this 684.30. Again, if it's buttered through, it's still valid. Not as a signal, but still as a level. So that is our next leg down, is a loss of this floor. And so we're going to exercise that volume that we have all coming off of this floor to make our trip down easier if that does occur. So again, I think it's really important right now to be looking at jumping into this at the right moment, or when that setup actually, gives that retest. Right now we're going up, so buying south doesn't make sense until, even if you are watching on the lower time frame, find the base of that candle. You want to be short underneath it. So if we do fail this retest on SPY, it would be like 684 that I'd want to try to maybe slip into there at most, or 683.60, but you need to be strategic about that. I was not on. I was going to crash out this morning, so I just was live on Discord. All right. I did crash out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. All right, now it still worked, but all right. Now, if you have anything you want me to take a look at, please go ahead and drop your request. We had a couple of other things dump. Netflix ended up moving down and actually dipped in past that 77 target, gave you 75.20. It has bounced, but definitely still has some more continuation once today's low is broken again. There is actually another pocket of empty space to 73 for anybody who's still holding runners on that position. Yeah, a couple 1,000% plays today from a couple folks. Now, yeah, what are you guys looking at here today? At what point do I eliminate old boxes? When new structure's been built in front of you, around it, or past it, or in it? Iraq. That's fucking hilarious. Hood. This is definitely a candidate for continuation to the downside because it does have a volume rich target underneath you at $67. 4 hour did slap that gap and you are bouncing, right? So this could be something like I said with the Qs, where depending on how we close or what we recover by the end of the day, there's nothing but really empty space up above you. So this could make for some, actually, damn, there it is. That could make for a sweet little retest trade. If you're trying to catch the bounce on it above 72.06, you could be looking for that $74 retest. There's more empty space beyond that, so if you do get that signal, 74.65, 74 reclaim, you could look maybe up a little bit further. All right. Tesla. Day 4 trying to get into the Potterbox Discord for free. All right. Tracked and noted. Thank God for cost basis, folks. It is the signal, and this is what it looks like when that volume holds strong. Slap ass. Yesterday you weren't able to lose your floor, so what'd you do today? You tested it again, and ass slapped. Push back down, right? We look at the previous floor that we held before. And it's basically right in this area, and we're retesting that now. Now we look underneath us, and we look at the lower time frame, and lo and behold, there is a box right here. So you can separate this. This is where you get stuck in between two signals, potentially. You are bouncing. You have not lost it. You could be looking at a 423.16 retest. There is empty space if that gets reclaimed up to 428. As of right now, right, what you want to see if you are bearish is this retest fail, right? Closer you are to closing at 414, but it would also be quite bearish for you to gap up, folks, right? Keep this bounce from happening intraday and gap up. And that would be very bearish because you would potentially wick up and then get wicked down and then see that next leg down. But there is more potential for Tesla to fall. You're looking for a punch down below 412 or 412, yeah, 412. And at that point, again, I'd be really aiming for the gap at 388, but we've also stepped out, if those levels are lost, because we're still holding on to what matters. And that's something that's, worth noting. But if those levels are lost, I still have a target down below at 368. So if the market overall, right, if this is our rejection off a cost basis, potential seller retest, that could be something that's considered moving south. So, but that rejection, today's high of day, is the signal to move to the upside. So, right, coin. All right. So, tempted, right? Very, very tempted. You're going into earnings. and we really didn't see much of a reaction, right? If there was a lot of volume there, I would, maybe they're waiting to unlock that on earnings and give you that pop back up. But it's also not something I would go into one-sided, with this market kind of bending over right now. 118, is still a feasible 118, 127 and 118 are two feasible targets directly underneath you. It is worth considering that maybe this earnings has priced itself in with 4 consecutive weeks of just melting face. And so, it, I think you can rely on, potential volatility. And so if it's cheap enough, it could make for a decent speculative setup. I think even just recovering 145.80 today by the end of the day would be pretty fire. So
Yeah,
um,
contracts kind of a
oh, they
little
do
bit
do.
out of money or decent price, like a 160,
For earnings, that's
$60.
that's not what I would consider that I want earnings to be like under 50. You know what I mean? So 50, 60 tops. That way I can balance that risk reward. Holy shit. You know what? There could be a lot of the times you can look at these big caps and kind of, look at sometimes hold the potential here. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. Microsoft looks kind of good. Kind of good. I don't know. You guys know I don't ever really say that about Microsoft. So I think it's not a box, it is a range, but I think, even if I just went down here to the 30-minute, you would bam. Yes. So, I mean, tomorrow it's, if you're ballsy enough, you could potentially take it tonight, find yourself a solid stop, which, we got empty space underneath you. So, but the trade is, a punchback up above that box and, or up above 407.16 up into the 412s. That is a good setup. That is a good setup. Can you be my gamer girl? What? That's gotta be spam. I'm married though, with kids. Can't have that. K-View? That won't do. Yeah. I mean, you are pulling back a little bit. Maybe a retest is needed. Yeah, it's crazy, dude. Um, so what is above and what is below? You don't really have anything. The only thing I see is that. And so that could, and let me guess, you're bouncing off, or you already did bounce off of it. You sure did. So what's that look like down here? What does it look like down here? So I mean, I think you're in a good spot to be still looking at a potential break. You're holding what you need to hold. Hopefully we can find a little bit more resolution here by the end of the day by popping up over 1885. But this doesn't look bad. Doesn't look bad. Hymns, 24-hour. Hmm. I didn't even look at that. I don't think I did. Maybe I did this morning. Damn. Fire target. You're not. I mean, if I'm being realistic here, right? If I'm get rid of all the noise. If I'm just looking at what's in front of you, yeah, that would be a floor. But what did you do to get here? This is all empty. This is all. I mean, from basically stay underneath $16. Stay under $16, and I think you have a pretty straightforward trip down to 15 flat. And I mean, I'd say 1467, on the run side, but a floor can be the bottom of a box. A floor is just another word for support. Anything that buyers are bouncing off of. Lawsuit, that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me. I think a lot of things are selling off, and anything like that is just using an excuse. It's just going to accelerate what's already going to happen anyway. UNH. Hmm. Um, so I mean, the only thing that I think makes this difficult, not difficult, is, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try and simplify something. Again, this is where you bounce. That's the whole range. Yes, inside of this, it's not a box. So I mean, yes, there is a structure. You're already pushing through this. You stopped. That stopped you yesterday. So I mean, yes, there looks like there's another trigger or target to the upside. I would say 288 is tomorrow's target. 288 would be what you need to climb up to next. It's not super strong, you know, but as of right now, you are popping, and you have 183.41 stop right there. All right, what do we got next here? Amazon or Microsoft? Let's see. I would say, I mean, yeah, if I'm looking at this correctly, tomorrow I would be looking for a potential retest off of 201, but Microsoft has, at least on the higher time frame, a little bit more of a straightforward setup. Yeah, man, I don't know. That one actually, the way you're responding to that floor here, I would maybe look at what do you have. Yeah, you've got that nasty gap underneath you. You've got a wick at 196 and a target of 194.62 and 193.25. W. Okay, so this is where you're either you're bouncing it back up. Oh shit, oh fuck. Oh, damn. Okay, so you punch through that, but you got a break down below this. And you really didn't hit it. So I mean, I could definitely say that maybe you have another trigger down to, or another target down to 96.31. It doesn't look like that's going to happen exactly yet, but let's see, 1 hour time frame, 30-minute time frame. Okay. So we'll say this, right? And I would even, yeah, probably looking at the 15-minute, 103.40. Yeah, this one, I don't really like the fact that it's only gotten to one bounce off of a floor. Um, at least in the most recent price action, but it's not really responded in a way that, with empty space directly up above you, I would expect. So, but yeah, over 103.17, you have a retest of 106.16. All right, let's see what else do we got. Disney to the downside. Hmm. I imagine we're gonna see some I mean, you're not. Yeah, you're not wrong. They're absolutely, and this is what. So this is where maybe patience is definitely going to be a virtue, but that, I mean, yes, that is a big play. You're gonna have to bite this off in chunks. It is Disney, so I would look at a $96 target first. And that might serve as an imbalance somewhere in there, but the next target would be 92, especially if we, again, we're just like with the upside, you build and then you break and you see an extended run. Like we just saw a breakdown retest. And so if that retest leads to a breakdown and the market turns over, things like this would go and fill that empty space underneath it. So can you explain a candlestick really quickly? I just started. Yes, brother. It's just tracking price, right? So even if it was a Beanie Baby, Beanie Babies today opened up and the price of a Beanie Baby was $108. And over the day's time, selling and buying occurred, and now after an extended amount of selling, now Beanie Babies are 102 or yeah 102.81 on this Beanie Baby floor. So it's just tracking price. The price over here to your right, right, can kind of tell you where those candlesticks are um, price wise. But yeah, that is a candlestick is literally just a little candle to represent the buying and selling. The wicks are just trails of where price has been. Um, so it's like kind of like the skeleton, but it just shows you the day's range, and then the body shows you the open and the close. On the green candles, the bottom is the open, and the top is the close. On the red candles, the top is the open. So that's where price opens up for the day, and the bottom is the close. Thank you, Bear.
Can we get that explanation in Pokemon cards?
And Pokemon cards, yeah, we'll do that one later. Put that one on the jukebox. PLTR.
My brother was pulling one of these cards. He like a card.
He was doing what?
He pulled a Luffy holographic card.
Oh shit. Yeah, those ones have one-on-ones. All right.
That was it. That was the 1-on-1 he pulled.
Oh shit. All right, Lacey, what are you trying to accomplish here? Are you trying to bounce this thing, short it? Looks like underneath you is a box. So today's landing point was cost basis. Directly underneath that box is another range. Damn, that's perfect. And underneath that is a massive doo-doo waterfall to 97.82. Now, based off today's reaction, and tomorrow again, unless something crazy happens overnight, and I don't want to, you guys to go into this with FOMO. But the reaction off of the floor, right? If we bounce, which we did, then we got to look at what's above for a retest. And because you are green and you are above 128.95, I would be looking at 133.50 is kind of like that main area. You can also consider 125.11 as still a valid bounce point. But there is a ton of opportunity potentially down. Again, the triggers, and I don't do supply and demand. I know it probably looks that way because I'm using boxes, but this is cost basis where this is where the 50% mark is, and so if that does trigger, I would be looking at a price target of 116. Um, you know that would also imply that you are underneath that, and that level is short. That's where big moves happen on PLTR. So I would definitely be watching. I mean, that is actually pretty close to where you're at right now. I repped your hat today. Let's fucking go, dude. Yeah, PLTR is not super duper clear for me, but MBOT. Oof. Yikes. Not exactly sure what we're trying to accomplish on this one. But I mean, it looks like it's got to be a weekly thing. And with that being said, I can simplify this pretty easy. Above 225, you've got a target of 245. I see weekly empty space, if that is something that has a catalyst and can break, at 315. However, if this does not hold this, this could be a rejection. You could be looking back down. So, what's up? UNH. Full possible chance. Possible. nothing on the higher time frame says yes. There's no structure, right? Okay, I see a little baby box that you're sitting on right here. I mean, literally right in the dead slap center of that tiniest little box right there. So in this situation, man, in order to confirm that theory, it's gotta be by the levels, right? And so first step is 612. Second step would be for sure over 630. And that's where you could get that move up, and I would look at that channel completing. But with something like this, I definitely, even though it's not substantial volume, I would still look at like 570 as like a level there. All right. What do I see for swinging? I see a retest tomorrow and an intraday entry back to the downside potentially. Or if you got huge nuts, and I'm still waiting here to see what we're gonna do by the end of the day. I don't know, man. If we keep the pressure to the downside, I mean, look at them. It's
Contracts
3
are
o'clock.
super expensive.
What's up?
Contracts are very expensive.
Of
Even
course, yeah.
IWM are fucking $3.
Yeah, yeah. They're expensive. That's why I'm still holding runners for the February 17th. All right. Now, again, I'm watching this as well, but to me, if we're going to be short, we gap up, right? And we gap up to like a floor on the cues, like 608 or somewhere near that. We reach up, reject, and then, you know, build back down. But I mean, honestly, with this shit reaction to the floor here, um, and having so much more potential to the downside, I'm curious. So like the wick is what you're rejecting. The floor is still up here around 60, yeah, 607. Um, yeah. I mean, we could be looking at ping pong. Bear market approaching. Man, I have been bearish since what was that? January 30th. January 30th is when I pulled the bear hat out. I'm still kind of bearish. Very bearish, actually. Everything is still pointing to the downside. Listen, for earnings, man, the only setup, I mean, maybe a retest of 616 does not look like an earnings play for me. If anything, maybe a hedge because of a punch down below 13 39. Any heat this thing takes in these conditions could definitely spur a sell off. So all right. So Dr. Pepper throughout today has maintained its pressure to the upside, shaking the can up. I'm still in. That's actually safety right now for it seems like for the bulls. We're looking at tomorrow potentially reaching 3050. CARR car. This one pulled back today. Someone was talking about trying to grab a potential entry on this one, and it did get pretty close to touching those wicks, but this might be what you're looking for. Knowing car and how it moves, you could be looking at 6440, but it did pull back rather fast today, which again is in our favor. So I'm looking at 6475 to kind of hang on here. QQQ, can I see your 30-minute box again? Yeah. Mhm. It's almost dead sitting around that.
We have data tomorrow.
Yeah, CPI.
I've been bearing since
Dun,
red
dun,
MACD on the
dun.
weekly chart. I don't use indicators. I threw the MACD in the trash. No MACD for me. Butterheck, could I see your 30-minute box on QQQ again? What makes you bring it to the wick? It's what do you mean on this one? The wicks are off the same point, 604.91. But, this can be, put back down on the 5 and tied together where it's actually more two little boxes right now. Man, that is not good volume for the bulls. All right, Celsius. Toothless. No, brother. No. No. You make my PC get all hot, bro. Nope. You be sitting on my PC. Look how big he is, dude. Look at this guy. He's like a fucking
Looks like a toothless dragon.
dude, he's massive. And he just lays on my PC and he heats it up.
Well, you feed that thing.
He blocks the
lasagna?
exit. Yeah. Now he's all pissy. All right. Be careful, bulls. Anybody look at it? Okay, so you got a good bounce right there. Celsius. Let's look at the 4 hour because that's not super clear. All right, overhead resistance again, not super clear here. I need more. 2 hour. Okay, that's better. Stop. Lord have mercy. I'd say 45.50, 45. Yeah, 45.50 is the first retest level. If that is cleared, I'd be looking at 46.26. You are outside of that box. So, if you're using that as a stop loss, that's definitely not pressurized. But if tomorrow we get that bounce, if the contracts make sense, for sure. Never mind, the contracts are toilet water. There you go. Google might do the lag, right? We might see that sell-off happen on Google now since everything else is done. I have a target underneath us at 306.11. We've basically the wick over here. If you look at the 24-hour, you could be looking for so much more. You could be looking at that what's that, 298, basically $300 target underneath you. That is not bullish right there. That is a bearish candle on the 24-hour candle. There's no wick on the bottom. And I look at these three candles right here and I don't see anything. So below 306.50, there's and again, that's the open price. So below that candle, I would be looking much further down. A lot of tech. Some things look like they want to retest tomorrow, but again, for QQQ, first of all, that's the weekly candle we're looking at closing. Just FYI for anybody who's looking to buy the dip. We need tomorrow has to be. Look, that right there, and remember the 610 level that we talked about on the 24-hour that had to hold. Tap, 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 tap. You're below it. I feel no bullishness at all except for retest. That's it. I'm not confused about my bias when the bias and the candle above, right? The one, if anybody's been watching me for the last 2 weeks, right? Or even the last week, it was this 617 floor. Somebody asked me that yesterday, and you go to the lower time frame, you get 3 massive rejections off of that. To me, even the way that we're closing kind of speaks to that potential. And not only that, right? Most recent price action, it makes sense that we bounced here, right? But when that trigger does fall, whether it's a retest back up here or here, which I expect, all of this down here is empty and fluid, and there's a gap, at 590. But I would personally, I'm looking maybe into the 588s area, which is the contracts that I have on the Qs. So, again, if you're in longer expirations or if you're looking just period end of story, there's a good reason to be bearish. tomorrow really's got to put the nail in the coffin, and that's your job, right? Tomorrow is the weekly candle is moving mountains. All right. When weekly candles say go, I move. And right now we have been bent over so many times when it was time to buy, when it was time to reach the floor, when it was time to go up. The punchback that you could say on the weekly that's sitting right here. So if Trump can pull a fucking magic money card out of his ass, if he could even reach that far up there, then maybe. But and the market's closed too. So you could tomorrow could be that leg down, a long weekend sell off. But again, right? We're not going to get lost in the fantasy. We're holding what we need to hold. Retests are usually likely if you don't have the volume or you do not gap down. If you are already in position, the best stop losses were here and here. And you're still in the game. If you're trying to enter now, right? Probably need a little bit of and they're jacked. They're jacked. And all of this empty space up above us is where wicks happen, right? We've seen this on the leg down. Look, every single time you go down, every single time out of any period before that leg down happens, some reach up occurs. So a reach up. And if you gap down, right, typically you're going to move quickly to your floor if you're not already on one. And the bounce is usually pretty straightforward. So, all right. This is just, something to think about. All right. Dollar General, it's only $3.15. Jesus Christ. That could be a safety net, right? Especially in these conditions, people probably looking at the economy, bullshit, whatever. That's not what you do when you're typically going to go reject, is pull down and whip back up. Dollar General does look kind of good for a potential journey to the upside. I think first step is absolutely a weekly candle close up against 153.24 and a punch over 157.24. Good build on the 24 hour, right? Nice. I mean, this isn't, that's strength right here at 145.50. So it does actually look really good. You obviously either are waiting for the trigger outside of that 152.55, or you're already in and you've got a stop loss of 145.93. 200% PLTR puts, we eat. Good job. Yeah, there was a lot of downside money. Yes, we're open tomorrow. Monday we are not. Long weekend. I have another week on my puts. I got February 20th, 588 puts. Those are, I bought those for $212 a piece. They're currently sitting about 380. So 70, 79, 80%. And I still got a decent little bit of time on these. My job right now with this position, because it's about a $5,000 position at this point, is to manage it. If I, again, set out on a goal like I did last time, I did my job, right? I had to step out of some of them, but I got it, right? The leg down here, 3 consecutive days of dumpage. So what is my goal this time by taking this short? Yes, 590 is the obvious first target, but since we've extracted a lot of the volume underneath us, I am looking, I'll be taking profit along the way, and today was sweet because I was able to trade IWM and Qs with shorter expirations to the downside, so you can consider it, right? Risk has been pulled from the whole position if you want to manipulate your mind like that. But right now, the next target is 596 and then 586. So 585, 586 will be the target underneath us. And I'll be honest with you, if the runners run and this is turning over, because, I just want to reiterate, the weekly candle is not closed and the 24 hour still has a couple things to lose. So I'm prepared for that tomorrow, if that occurs. But yeah, we're we're turning over for sure. And if I'm gonna play this like I have, and it's so cool though. We've narrated this pretty well. Oh my God, stop getting on my PC. Now it's Pearl. Pearl, you can't do this. Please, please, get off my collar. Thank you. All right. You include the wicks when the wicks are all touching the same point. All right. Yeah, Johnson and Johnson, Octavius. I don't deal with anything. Is it all time? Is this all time highs? Yeah, it's all time highs, man. I don't have any edge here. My strategy does not work for all time highs trades. At that point, it's just Fibonacci extensions that could be useful. That's the only indicators I use if I end up catching myself in all time highs. DKNG hot dog water, week old hot dog water right here with unflavored Jello mix in it. It's sorry. It's actually not been bad lately. You've had some pretty gnarly little retest here. However, that's not really the response you want to see on DKNG's floor. So, I mean, I'll be honest with you. This one kind of looks a lot like a lot of other stocks, kind of just one trigger away from continuation to the downside. DKNG does not have anything super special underneath it. Box there. Box there. Okay, so I would say your next leg down is going to be 42, 24.42 and 24.14.
Earnings tonight.
Earnings tonight. Both of those targets still stand to the downside. The only upside move I see is maybe you engulf. If you can engulf, maybe next day we go and rip to 28.61. That one, I've learned my lesson on DKNG. I don't think that one's earnings do very well. Netflix blew past my target, man. So the next trade down, which there is a trade down, is going to be through today's low, and underneath 74.87 you got a target of 73.50. INTC. Real quick, I'm just trying to get an idea of what we're looking at here. How many of you are, you can just type in the chat or whatever, but how many of you guys are planning on being present on March 1st? Whether you're on TikTok or YouTube or whatever. Just throw an emoji.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, damn.
Hi.
That's beautiful. That was beautiful. I would like for everybody to answer like that.
Thanks, bro.
Okay. Damn. Okay. I have class on March 1st. Okay. 5:30. Damn, Q's. Contract's going up. All right, we're heading to the floor again. Getting close to closing the day that way. Hold on, Q's. 1, 2, 1. I mean, you got a lot of rejections overhead. Again, we just have to see how price responds here. I usually don't like when you flush to the floor like that unless you can clear it. Just got here. Do I need the VIP to join? You do not have to be a part of my Discord to be in class. No. That would be, yeah, no. My Discord's a separate thing. If you are going to hedge, right? How we react to this floor could determine whether and where you do that. Hold on, I gotta grab water. Sitting on my hands, stretching to 1,000%. Just like that. Price is moving down here. Guess we could kind of look at that as a guide. Shut up, Antonis. You're trash. Hold on. I'll finish INTC in just a second. I got a position in the queues here I got to manage. INTC. I mean, that one looks super heavy. INTC looks very, very heavy. The floor underneath you, it looks like it's 45.60. So that would be your next target with you closing underneath 47. So that's pretty straightforward going into tomorrow. However, with that being the third time, you might be able to stretch your wings down to 44.50 at least intraday. That's pretty heavy. Made bank on SPY puts. Nice job. All right, let's see what else we got. Heart. Hold on. IWM to me still has a 257.50 target. I mean, it's already wicked and it looks like, yeah, but it's pushing back down as we get into the end of the day. So tomorrow, right here at 257.50, if we gap up on that, we could see a gnarly little retest back up. We would want to be underneath it to go get that gap filled at 255. Yeah, IWM has way more though. I mean, if it gets to 254, you've got, I mean, there's a move all the way to 249 in our future. If we keep losing levels, and one of those levels that we're again looking at is that 255 level. That's huge. All right, heart. All right, Q's. What are you gonna do here with 30 minutes left? 24-hour cart. Wow, that looks like doo-doo. Well, I can tell you this much: sellers have got you trapped underneath 35.50, and until you get above that, there's no bullishness at all. I would say actually below this week's low or below the low, you got a smooth weekly target all the way down into the 27.75s. SoFi is like everything else that it has an open like this. It's just barely bouncing off of their opens. It's got a ton of empty space up above it, just like it did before. But this, again, you're not really responding totally. So I mean, I could see a gap down to fill that 1871. Keep your eyes peeled on the range that you're creating now, because that will be, if you do make another low, this will be the signal back up. Butter, I purchased the March 1st. Nice. And you can go back and watch the old ones while you're waiting to prepare. Yeah, the class is going to be good, man. There's a discount on the workshop right now. Small. Class is great. This should be the best one. Should be better than last time. Yeah, I'm watching the queues right now, Myra. And they're not responding. They're not responding to that floor IWM. What are we doing here? We need that 259.69 to flush. INTC doesn't look good, man. I would find a better place to get into that, especially with tech looking. I mean, maybe reposition that tomorrow. Ooh, General Motors bearish. That is really bearish right now because of all of those wicks that that multiple that one actually looks like a decent, maybe longer expiration. You're looking for a break of 79 down to that 77.75 floor. Why does the Qs move like SPY? It's an ETF. Then it holds some of the same major equities. Does my previous style of trading give you extra insight without realizing it in addition to the Potter box? Everything that I did before wasn't working. It was only when I started kind of like trusting what I was seeing on the chart and labeling things my way, based off of what I was seeing. None of the things that I learned, the style in which I learned, going in heavy, buying contracts right outside of the money, all of these things were exactly what was leading me downhill. They're the same downhill route that everybody else takes. So yeah, I mean, I had a really aggressive approach to all of those individuals. I didn't want to be a part of it. I was like, whatever they're teaching, I'm not listening. There was some things that, my friends shared with me, that I may have integrated, but yeah, I didn't find volume profile. Ooh, that looks like hold on. Damn, that looks fucking good, kind of good. I mean, with all that empty space underneath you, it's 117 first, and it's 115.78, and finally 114. Those will be all three targets. You definitely tried to bounce off of this box and got sucked into it. So, I mean, it's obvious where this thing would reverse. I mean, look at that. That's insane. But that does look short. I mean, if you look at the fact that you closed back inside of that 123, the only difference maker here is that you need to gap down underneath today's low. That would set you up perfectly for that move back down. So if they do 24-hour trading, will your strategy still work? Yes, my strategy will still work because it's still track. The only thing that would pick up, right, is that, price action would, nothing, I don't think anything would change. I've thought about this a lot. The 24-hour time frame, or us trading 24 hours a day, well, that doesn't change anything. You know what I mean? Like, mechanically, things would still operate the same way. We just might have to adjust the times in which we do things, which, I mean, I'm not mad at being able to potentially take profit, for it not to be a, crack of dawn. But what's the best long-term stock? I don't really think there's such a thing. I mean, again, when you say like long term, you're not, you can go with the powerhouse, whatever, Apple, Tesla, and stuff. That's the usual, people suggest that. But I look at the opportunity. I look at what institutions are buying. I look at what they're trying to acquire, where money's rotating, and I look for opportunities on the chart there when I'm looking to buy equity. And it's not always. Sometimes it's 2 years. Sometimes it's a year. But 80 to 90% of stocks don't hold their highs ever. So I mean, it's like, and not to mention, I use this example a lot. When Ford first hit the market, the stock market, which was obviously ages ago, there was like 1,000 other car companies after a while. So you could have, picked one of them and said, I'm in this for the long haul, and been dead ass wrong. So you know, again, it's different because you can see what politicians are buying, you can see what institutions are putting their money into, what, you know, what's being acquired, you know, you could even look at board changes, and all of that would, you know, kind of help you develop a watch list of things that could have a future, you know. But all right. Q's new low, but also not giving it up very easy. Damn, it's almost a $6,000 position now, baby. Do I plan on full porting CPI tomorrow? I don't ever plan on full porting anything, man. I don't need to full port. Not with, dude. We had the fucking somebody posted a couple of these. Yeah, I mean, like, look at the cost. You don't have to full port anything. That's 14 cents. That's $14 a contract. 70. That's 414%. Yeah, this is kind of nutty. It's 1,000%. $18 for the contract. $201 return, or a little bit less, but 1,000%. 183. I don't know why I'm trying to do math in my head. So yeah, imagine full port on 1,000%. Yeah, that's always the temptation. I've heard, you know how many students I've heard say that to me? Oh man, if you could just catch one with a full port. I get it. I get it. But then your port's gone if you're wrong. I mean, shit, I ain't gonna lie to you. If I was 19 again, I'd be full porting all the time. Shit, catch me with, if I had nothing to lose, you know what I mean? If I just had a job and no responsibilities and a $300 fucking room that I was renting again, maybe. You'd have to be like so specific. Let's see here. KDP looks really good. If you're in this one already, it looks good. And I have nothing else to say about this. These are the ones that I don't narrate any further because there's really no need. Damn, bro, we are putting up numbers today, dude. 600% on the Qs. Oh, Jesus, another 1,000%er. Jesus, bro. That, dude, look at this TikTok. Look at that. That's fucking crazy. That's a bag. Oh, 30K likes. Holy shit. Yeah, thank you. A lot of people posted it in here today. This one was my favorite. I fucking love, dude, he always posts these. I don't know. I fucking love these so much. They're my favorite thing in the world. I've never had 1,000% grain. Stick around, my boy. Trade IWM with us. Be patient. Take fire 24-hour setups or breaks of range. Is it too late on the Qs? No, I just think that nothing is going to be. I mean, no, I don't think it's too late on the Qs. I just know that you're going to be buying extremely expensive contracts, and I'm not a stranger to the behavior. I mean, right now it does look, you know, again down, but I guess that is the retest. Oh, give me a second here. Let me look at the hourly. You know what I'd like to see in the next couple of minutes? I'd like to see price move back up, fill that space, hit 603, and get faded back down. Then I think that would be good to take for a swing. If you can do that by the end of the day, yeah. But what I was saying earlier is still what I'm saying now. When you leave this much empty space behind, it is always better when we are able to catch that short like that off the retest. And the way that we want price to move is the same way that it moved up. We want it to rip ass. And that, so if you are taking the position, you're either A, hedging, or B, you know exactly where the hell you're trying to get out. But because it has already hit a major level, you should have already been in. I'm just keeping it real with you. You should have already gotten into this trade. And if you got all the way out, because you didn't pick the right expiration or something, that's something you're going to need to look for, going into tomorrow. I am swinging my positions. I do still have the Qs 588 February 20th puts, and those are up 100% right now. But CPI could have us gapping up, yeah. But again, I'm in profits from today. Today was a great IWM and the Qs, shorter expiration contracts, beautiful punch down through the box, loss, gap up 3 times off the top. And we go and we hit the box underneath us at 602. So like that was step 1, right? Step 2 is break cost basis. That's step 2. What's happening right now? Cost basis is bouncing. If we can flush it, don't be impatient. We need to see that buyers are not buying. So look what's happening right now. Look, you can be so specific right now. Look at these candles. See the wicks, the bodies right here? That's what you're forced down underneath. That's 602 flat. You'll pop back up and you'll retest right up there to 602.78. That stock is not bullish until you get back outside of $10 flat, or basically 9.92. Otherwise, this one still looks, I mean, with that sort of retest and break back down, underneath 680, basically your low here, you have a target of 826 and 742.
Could you look at Neo?
What is it?
Neo.
NDO?
Sorry, Neo and IO.
Ne Oh, sorry. Your mic is super low for some reason. So this is actually what it looks like when you're, again, stuck in between 2 ranges in the most recent price action. Punch through this box, ripped up into that structure, whatever that may be. Yeah, and so you're failing on both sides, to really make a break. So it's still kind of a read and react scenario, but anything underneath 489 and you're coming back down. And I would say the same thing looking to your left right here. It's not super clear, but it's 518 to the upside. And at that point, you could be looking for the gap to fill and our target of 560. What's up? Is the new Potter workshop class going to be available for purchase? Yeah, it'll be available. Holy shit. Yeah, somebody asked me about this yesterday or the other day. Yeah, that rejection and drop down underneath 183, that was a huge, huge signal, right? You also lost cost base. You closed at cost basis. So yesterday, even, I mean, with 0 response on the floor, now you have a target very close right now at 122.64 and 117.71. The next target underneath that would be 117, which I think is priced in. I mean, you could definitely see that with this sort of turnover. Tesla again. What was that? I think some sort of deity told me to short Tesla just now. I don't know what that was. No, yeah, I'm just joking. But this box, right, that we've established above us, you slammed into that twice. You're sitting at the floor. In the most recent price action, there is only a single box holding you up right now, and that is your signal to go short. Yeah, set alerts, because underneath 409, I would expect for Tesla to move to 394.67 and 388. But I think the bigger play, right, if we did see that engulfment, because right now, I mean, by a thread, you are trying to hang on to that same floor that you've maintained before. And if this price does get engulfed, listen, I 368, 354, 2 targets, 1 trim, 1 take profit. You've already bounced off of the 50% mark. This is expended its time up here. You know, if you're patient on this one, I think there's money to be made. Am I going to lose my money on the video calls? I mean, if you got it, yeah, probably. I'm gonna be honest with you, yeah, does not look good. You're getting, yeah, does not look good. You have a couple of things that could save your life. 186. I don't want to give you hope if you don't need it, because if you're already red, then maybe it's time for you to just look for a better entry. The reason that you got in is, I mean, the 4 rejections off the top, so it could sell me immediately. But I'm gonna be honest with you, NVIDIA has kind of a juicy little short play with 2 targets at 181.36 and at 178.17. So that's free sauce right there. That amount of rejections overhead, again, if I was wanting to take this long, you're not getting me into this one until we know for sure that you're going to break overhead. And at that point, you've already tapped at 180.50, you know, and maybe you can get back up. But it looks like at minimum, we would be looking at 186, perhaps even overnight or right now. Okay, to Q, it looks like we're still no response from the floor here. Yeah, you're right. It did hold. I would play this purely as a hourly trade. You're smushed right in the middle. So that's over 98, up to 103, 24 hour. You are, I mean, that is something to be said about that. I mean, you are bouncing right there. If that fails though, you know, no bueno. When you Principal Patterson, I can't help but I'm swinging short positions that I've been holding since this morning. Well, actually, I took these. I bought puts on the 588s on the 10th of February, and then I bought more for basically half the price. I only bought a couple at first, and then I bought them about half the price at yesterday at yeah, a couple went right before the bell. Is it too late for IWM? I don't think it's too late. I just think you need to have the right expiration for the floors that we have to break. Things are going to get fluid. Listen, we got a couple things left to go. And don't let your fucking FOMO be the reason that you don't collect cash out of this. Collect yourself. Take a deep breath. Where's the best place to put a stop loss? Or how close are you to a floor? So your fear of missing out, you know, could get you into something that you wish you missed. I'm watching the Qs right now. That one, the IWM stalling, but Qs, looks like we're sinking right now. Ooh, juicy baby. That's a $6,000 position now, baby. I have 261 puts for February 17th on IWM, and obviously those are in the money. I'm up 160% here, but take profit trim is 257.14 and 255, and at that point, I might even try and squeeze in myself into something a little bit shorter expiration. There's ample opportunity underneath us. You can go ahead and set up a couple of triggers beneath you, like these boxes. They will respond, they will bounce. Stop expecting for things to go straight down. For anybody who thinks that's a thing, but right here, that's a beautiful pocket. There's money to be made. Coinbase sell off, my boy. Wish me luck. I will wish you luck, dude. Will this live be put on YouTube, Charlie? It is already on YouTube. Can't see on TikTok. Can't see what? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm looking at cues on the other side of my screen. Sorry. You want the whole screen? Got to go to the tube. That looks great. I mean, the cues look way better. Now I'm starting to look at the 596.91, 596 target going into tomorrow. $599.60. That's the only place we've pulled ourselves up here. Just checking. Why don't I have 1 million followers? Mamma mia. Because I'm not friends with the community. Because I don't flex all the shit that I buy. Because I don't show people my cars, or I would say my jewelry, my wife's jewelry. Because I want to teach people how to do this, and that doesn't trigger instant gratification in people. People want money right now, and I get it. It's totally justified. But I don't offer the fast route, and that's just, not what the masses want. And there's other people taking advantage of that, and they know it. I attract people. Typically, the people who join my Discord are people who don't want to. They've already been through the signals, or they've already been through the people telling them what to buy and sell, and they're like, "All right, well, I got to figure this out, or I got to be able to do this on my own." So, did I cover any earnings charts today? Post chick,
Yes.
but he is legit good dude, and he has sauce. Hell yeah, she said I got sauce. Sauce. Sometimes I wish I was from Boston. We need more people from Boston in here. Ivy, if anybody joins and they're from Boston, let me know. Give them a special Boston treat.
Bro, I've been here. I have been here.
Yes, chef.
All right, I need you to speak. I need you to double down on that Boston accent and really speak up for me. Gasman, if you could start talking again, that would be great. More accents. Good, Freddie. Yeah, that's a good sign, man. Coinbase, Pinterest. Hold on a second. Pinterest. Oof, lost interest. Oof, that's too close to 1737. I still think that thing might. Still think that one goes to the floor, but I can't take that one right now. ANAT, Rivian, JFrog. Frog can be fun. Toast can be fun. Let's see. Look at Frog. Damn. I don't really see anything on this one right here. I mean, there is a punch back through the box. There's empty space up to 66, but I don't know how I feel about that one. It is 57.23. That would have to break. And then, what's the other one? Toast. An AMAT toast. Post chick, I mean, keep watching these streams. Listen, IWM. I'm telling you guys, IWM is probably your ticket to building your account. I'm telling you, man. I don't care what size account that I just said that today. I wasn't on live with you guys, but like I said, it's a one size fit all, dude. Everybody can trade IWM, any size account. I mean, if you have a large account, boy, oh my God, you want to talk about the runner sweet spot? Buy 150 contracts at $4 or $5 a pop. Sell them when they hit 15. Sell the first bit. When they start hitting the 50s or 60s, trim half, and then, I mean, you're she gets delicious. IWM is, and again, you focus on it, but that does not mean you trade it every day. I will show you guys after the bell where this thing does not, it will eat your ass alive. That's right. Toast was one of those ones that I was trying to bring that up yesterday, because this is one of those ones we tried to take this one out of the box. It didn't have the volume, and oh my God, dude, we were toast. $25 though. Looks like that's not worth my time. Put that toast in the trash. Let's look at AMAT. That, ooh, whoa. Look at those weekly wicks. That looks like a lot of fuckers are selling here. What's our AMAT contracts? I'm filling a small lottery ticket. Oui. If they're the right price, if the price is right. Holy shit, the price is wrong. Unless you could get to. Damn. Man, if the contracts on that one were sweeter, I would be able to grab something in the 370s and something down here in the 380s. But honestly, it looks like AMAT could see, if it did see a leg down. It is holding that 317.27. But boy, if that was lost today with that wick overhead, you actually have a good balance in between the highs and the lows, where that's literally your trigger out and that would be up, and then this is your trigger down and that would be, that would be a juicy leg down. How am I choosing my contracts, Joel? I use target-based contracts with the right expiration. Choosing your expiration is obviously another part of the battle. I typically add a week per structure on the 24-hour time frame. Is there some news that shook the market? I don't think. Oh, by the way, $5.99 on the Qs while I was just yapping. That's why I'm multitasking like a motherfucker here. Just got slammed into just now. Look at that level, dude. Absolutely fire. And you should expect that sort of reaction off of it. Yeah, I have a lot of people who, and this could be your chance right here as it taps 600. Watch 600 right here. If you want to trim anything shorter expiration, we've already hit that target. I love that close though, and I am looking to see the floor here at 595.91, man. I think that with this sort of close, we gap down tomorrow. You'll see a leg down real quick. Somebody quote me on this one so I can brag if I'm right. But yeah, see a quick leg down, bounce, and then gap fill. And from there we'll see. But
I was thinking gap down and then gap fill back up.
yeah, the hope is that it doesn't all happen overnight. Because of CPI tomorrow. If we keep moving down overnight and we do get anywhere close to this 596, we'll open right on it and then fucking explode right back up. And I'll shit my pants. But, yep. You can hedge if you want to, worst case scenario, but I'm sticking to my guns on this one, just like I did last time. Don't take your guns to town, son. Leave your guns at home, Bill. All right, let's see here. Wish we could sell options after hours. I feel you. I mean, listen, if you don't think I'm not, I just
One day.
right, huh?
One day it will be soon, 24 hours.
Yeah. Listen, this was a huge level. So if this is where you hedge, if you are hedging SQQQ, if you can't afford the upside contracts on and again, we're looking at a 608 at the worst retest. You can correlate that to SQQ. That would be it'd be 7082 and 6980. But damn, what a close.
I think TQQ fits with the Qs as far as the chart goes a lot better.
Yeah, it does. Again, just to repeat, last minute, everything that I'm holding right now is risk-free. There is nothing but empty space on the queues directly underneath us to that 595 area. We've accomplished a great deal of ground. And if we, again, do gap down underneath of this floor that we are bouncing off of right now, that is the target. So it's bouncing from here. We have to buy calls. No, I'm holding my shorts, but you can use SQQQ because these are runners. You can buy a cheap, out of the money, worst case scenario contract as a small insurance policy. Sometimes it's better not to because you're already in profits or the position is low risk. I personally am sticking to my guns here. My guns. Pew pew. Listen, and just to repeat myself, I had a theory. My theory was if we couldn't reclaim that floor, first green candle to our left, and we lost the 610 floor, we're short, right? And that short would likely lead us to the same bounce level as we saw before. In any sort of leg down, folks, right? There's going to be retests, big leg down before making a new low. In fact, that's a gap up, right? And most of the time it's the gap ups that lead to continuation. That's kind of what we saw here this morning, right? Inside of the box, you gap up. Where's your strength coming from? You just open price without touching anything. And that led to our punch down, loss of the floor at 610, which is why we find ourselves here. Netflix is very close. Yeah. I got 2 contracts left on that one, but that if you do set your alert over $77. That one could make for a decent retest play whenever the time comes to 78.37. Absolutely diabolical. Yeah, if you guys have any gains to post them. If you made off like a bandit today. Jesus Christ, I didn't even see that one.
I just slapped SPX for 2100%.
Jesus Lord, have mercy. 2100%. Dude, you know that people like
While driving.
While driving, dude, you know, if you showed that to somebody 5 years ago, if you showed that to somebody 2 years ago, shit, you might even be able to show somebody that now and they'd have a seizure. Like, that's not possible. There's no way. It's crazy, man. Yeah, congrats. I love the runners here. Beautiful. Beautiful. Do your QQQs just no, they do not expire for tomorrow. SQQQs do, though. How did you end up on my PC toothless? Where did you come from? Oh my God. You know what? You get 5 minutes since you made it up there without being detected. I reward talent when I see it. All right, 469% on IWM today. Nice job, Dorian. Yuck. We yucked it up. Can I explain IWM? Yeah, I mean, this one, what I would really love to see, Principal Patterson, is I would love to see a retest back up here tomorrow, whether that, and there is a possibility that we gap down to 257, so this is still up for interpretation. Right now, I do see that 257.47 as that underneath target. If we gap down, expect a gap fill. We could drive it down a little lower if we experience a rejection off of today's closing build. And that top of that build is basically cost basis, so you would see a nice juicy retest right back up.
Rivian had earnings just now.
Oh, that's right. Let's see, what are we doing? I don't trust it.
I don't either. I don't like it, and especially how it didn't even break the.
1561, and then you can go to 1623. But I don't believe anything I see on Rivian off of earnings until it starts breaking stuff.
Trading and driving is an adrenaline rush. Holy shit.
Did you not have your seatbelt on?
No, I didn't. I was on backcountry roads too.
Damn, that's hardcore as shit, dude. I ain't gonna lie to you. Now, did you have
I even got the screenshots I just posted in the gains.
Let me see.
Oh, while fucking driving 55 on a dirt road.
Oh my God. God, dog, dude. That's 35 cents. $35. You can't even get eggs, steak, and bread damn near for $35. And you just turn that into $790. That I'm just telling you right now. That's crazy. I know people who would spend $1,000 to make that and call that a W. Post chick. You can shoot me a DM or something. Couldn't see IWM on your screen when you explained it. Oh, my bad. My bad. Yeah, so for IWM, sorry, Principal Patterson, I'm going to be honest with you. Now that I'm looking at it at the close, I see a gap down. I see a gap down at 157. You know, again, at worst, we see a retest up here at 264 in the 264 area. But I mean, if I get rid of all of this, right, and I look at IWM as a whole, I see a leg down all the way in here. And if we're just, you know, if we want to be channel, right, correct. And again, I'm okay with the fact that the channel fought for the break, but I mean, 253, which is still totally tangible. That bounce that we had previously off of 255, you know, that's what we would be looking to break to get there. But, you know, with the conditions that we're in, with the market the way that it is, damn, I really want to keep learning, but I lost. That can't be what stops you though, dude, right? That can't be what stops you. If listen, there is an answer to any question that you have. There's an answer, and if there's not an answer, I'm gonna fucking find one.
Bro, I'm still down 60 grand all over. I'm just starting to get profit.
You climb back
You gotta
up.
keep trying. You gotta keep trying.
You came in like that though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I was down over like 100. I was 120K down at one time.
Okay. Well, damn. Fuck, that's actually pretty fucking good, dude. Holy shit. At first it was like, damn, but now it's like, all right, damn. Keep it up.
The guy's still alive.
We had somebody in here who Mike came in here. He was down 100K, and then man, it was fucking cool though. I play video games with him, and he was like, dude, you don't even get it, man. He's like, you really did, like, yeah, I can't remember him word for word, but he was like, bro, you really did help me, you know, because he was up in the green big at that point. So how did that person get that contract so cheap? I mean, you'd have to ask him. But I'm gonna assume the same way that we get Yeah, I mean, you
Bought
just
it at
pick
the
it.
top of the box.
So you bought it at the
It was
top of
at
the box.
zero,
I'm assuming,
0 day, 0 day.
and
Had like
then
20 minutes left.
oh shit, target based. I'm sure. My biggest problem is I don't know how to make the right buy or sell and waiting for class. Oh, if you're waiting for class, my brother, then yeah, I mean, be patient. If you've already gotten, if you get the workshop now, you can start going through the class material before. So that way, when we go into class, you're prepared. All right, listen, real quick. QQQ. Right now, as we speak, right off of that level, you've got just a couple of minutes to make a decision. That is a punch back potential for that retest that we keep talking about. So you can watch and get as close as you can to 415. Again, I'm still good with my decision right now. But if you are looking for a hedge, it would be that 608 mark. CPI comes out in pre-market. Yes, say 8:30. Yeah, 415. All right, guys. Yeah, it does. It does. Again, sorry I wasn't here. YouTube and TikTok, I just had a lot going on and mentally a little fried. But we'll be live tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, and we'll see what the market has to offer overnight. There's a lot of overhead pressure. I'm well, excited and curious on whether or not we're going to see this follow through. So how long do you hold this trade? Oh, damn. Yeah, there you go. That's nuts, dude. Might have to start doing that more. How do I think the market's going to react tomorrow? I have a small sneaking suspicion that we might see a gap up. It all really depends on where price settles right now. Like even overnight, or going into 8 o'clock. If this sets up for a punchback, then I expect a gap up. If this rejects and stays below the floor, just like it would, listen, just because it's after hours doesn't mean that anything changes. So you could literally, I mean, some people use futures to hedge themselves, because it's the same thing. So like as we get towards the end of the night and you're watching the cues, the farther we are away from that trigger, the better. All right. Peace out. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay. Again, the workshop is discounted right now. I hope if anything, again, I don't shill a lot of shit on here, but that workshop is going to be worth it. Most of all the people here talking about and showing off all of these gains, these high percentage gains, these are people who have gone through these workshops, gone through the workshop on their own. And I mean, I didn't tell this person to take SPX short. So I hope I see as many of you guys possible there. If anything, that's the most valuable thing that I offer. So, but I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Peace out.